and also to celebrate everyone's involvement and contribution to the BNG network this past year. I'd also like to welcome Cllr Mary Linehan Foley, who will officially launch our projects for this year. We've also got, we've got Michael Twomey from Complete Control Films, and he will discuss the filmmaking of the 3 films that he made for us here in the B&G group, and also he will show you 2 short videos. So I'll hand you over to Michael. It's time to shine. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you very much, Jan. Thank you, Blue and Green Network, for inviting us here this evening to launch 2 of the videos of the 6 that Complete Control Films made, not by myself, with the very good hands of Kieran McCarthy as well. That's Complete Control Films, completely. So we made the films last year, and it was our first time venturing into what would be considered information films, where documentary filmmakers essentially. So it was a departure for us to take on something that was more educational, informational, I suppose something that had a social message, or environmental message in particular, and that was a challenge for us. We had so much to learn in terms of learning about the environment and making sure that the films had the correct message. For that, we're very grateful for the support of the Blue and Green Network, and for the people who helped us along the way in terms of the information that we had to gather for the 6 films. We hoped that the films would get across the message that the Blue and Green Network are trying to and succeeding to raise awareness, particularly in a local situation, because Youghal is plush with environmental assets. And we found that making the films, that it's richer than, I think, even Kieran and I, who are both residents, children and growing up here, were aware of ourselves. So there's a few people I'd like to thank along the way for the process. Also, I'd like to say too the importance of one of the things that is the most, I suppose, enriching part of making films is that we were asked to do it, and that we're local people, and local talent in Youghal, as people know, is a deep well, often not resourced locally. So for that we were grateful, and I think more of that needs to be done. Look inward, and the Blue and Green Network are starting from scratch. They're starting at the bottom to raise awareness, and they chose people in the town to go along that way. People like Pat Smithy, an expert in his field in bird life, and that is the way to go for all communities, to look inward and then work their way out. I'd like to thank the Blue and Green Network, obviously, for their assistance over the last year. And in the technical side of making the films, James McCarthy was a great resource to us. James is a drone filmmaker. McFly Media is his company, and really having his input really, I thought, lifted the grade of the film to another level. McCarthy was here with us tonight for his bottomless sources of archive that he has been collecting over the last number of years, and I think we're not the only people in town who have gone to help with projects in terms of the archive that he has collected over the years. And within that archive there are people like the Mathis family and the Burke family, who years ago had the great foresight to take out cameras and shoot what seemed to be just mundane, ordinary things, but as time passes become invaluable to us as archive and as voices of the past, or voices, or ancestry. I'd like to thank Ruth Hayes, who I thought did a beautiful job of the narrations. Ruth is a well-known actor, in Youghal, and a successful playwright in terms of her play, which was broadcast on News Talk last year. So we were very grateful to get Ruth on board. And that's it really. They're all the people that were involved, and again, I'd like to thank everybody who helped us along the way. We're going to see 2 films from the collection of 6, which can all be viewed on the Blue and Green website and on YouTube channels as well, on their own channel. So we're going to see 2 films tonight. One is the coastal environment, the dangers to the coast, but also some of the environmental assets that are there, the biodiversity that lives on the coast and exists on the coast that's often invisible to the naked eye. And the second one is Keene Park, Frank Keene's fantastic personal project of the old quarry outside on the Quarry Road, by the Mill Road outside in the Waterford side of Youghal. If you see any of the old Horgan photographs of Keene Park and the way it looks today, the town can be grateful for the work that has been done there by Frank, and has now blossomed again as a centre for biodiversity. And I know that Derek Bora, who's also involved with the Blue and Green Network, has done fantastic work out there in terms of what exactly is going on out there in terms of biodiversity. So I hope you like the films, and I hope that you spread the word that these are good resources for people to use to educate themselves. Thank you very much.
Youghall's coastline runs from Pilmore Strand to Youghal Bridge and is approximately 10.5 kilometres long. Around 5 kilometres of coastline east of the town is beach.
20% of the Irish coast is now at risk from coastal erosion, with 6% regarded as being in immediate danger. These estimates do not include the impact of occasional storm-driven shoreline retreat.
Okay. So I'd like to thank you all for coming, and I'd like to thank Michael and Kieran for the amazing work that they did with the videos. And I'd urge you all to go onto our website to have a look at the rest if you've not already. And please do share them with friends, family and community. You'll see on your tables there's a card, and it's got a QR code which will take you directly to the website, as well as the website address. Okay. So I'd like to specifically thank everybody here that's been part of our community garden with the last year, especially Philly, with whom we couldn't keep the garden open. And Philly's doing a horticultural course on site as well, and is a great asset, and we absolutely thank you. So thank you, Philly. If anybody is interested in joining the community garden, again, if you head to our website, you'll find all our contacts there, and we can chat to you about that. We run loads of different programs, workshops. We learn together, we grow together. It doesn't matter what your level of green fingerless or not is. It's really just about sharing the energy, sharing the knowledge, and really finding a way to grow together in every aspect of that. I just wanted to say a couple of things about the videos before I finish up. And one is that since they were made, there's been quite a few changes. The one that was done on the coast and the marine, since then, you'll probably all remember we've had Storm Babette and a lot of dreadful local flooding. Cllr, Middleton, Tallow, where they had an awful time. They're still having an awful time, and even here in Youghal. So we were lucky this year to get some funding to have a look at a community response to flooding, amongst other things, and Hayley will speak to you about that in a moment. And the other video on Keene Park, we've also been lucky to get some funding recently for a restoration project, hopefully. And Derek Bora, who's here this evening as well, he's our ecologist who worked really hard on the feasibility study and the implementation plan to get that over the line. So I'd like to thank Derek for his work in that, and indeed everybody. enjoy the rest of your evening. Looking forward to getting to chat to you all, and happy Christmas, and thank you.
A lot of you I do know, but for those of you who don't, my name's Hayley. I'm the Community Development Worker in Cumardina, but in this instance, I am delighted to say that I've been invited to be a project manager on the project that Gráinne has briefly mentioned there. So this is our new logo. Thank you to Kieran for his speedy work. This project is called Pathways Building Community Resistance. Sorry, I can't speak now. And what I want to say to you about this project is it's the network's project, but it is your project. And this project will only work with your engagement and your input and your experience, because what we will be doing in that project through arts, through textile art, through copper work, through audio-visual recordings, and through textile art, what we'll be doing is working together towards creating a realistic community resilience plan for Youghal. So that means not only that we as individuals or ye as a network, you will have so many opportunities to input into this, but we will also be bringing agencies on board so that this resistance plan is actually workable. We don't want this to be a talking shop, we want this to be an actual change. So we have had our first workshop this year. Since then, we have also had this terrible flooding. The whole project is focused around resistance to flooding and rising sea levels. So ye all know better than anyone how that impacts on Youghal. And I do hope that you will all take the opportunity to be involved in the workshops and workshops and arts practice that will be happening kind of from February until September next year. In September, there will be an exhibition which will show the work that you have all created as well. I do want to thank our funder. Would be nice if I mentioned them. We are funded by Creative Ireland through the Department of, I always have to read this off, sorry, Tourism, Culture, Arts, Gaeltacht, Sport and Media. And it's wonderful to have that funding, not only because it means we can deliver the project, but it is recognition of the value of the work that Blue and Green Network are doing in this town and this area. So also to thank, when we put in our initial plan, we had a steering group from the network, which was Martina and Kevin and Max. Those people are still invited to help us steer this project as we go forward. And I also want to mention the 3 artists we have involved in the project, 2 of who sadly can't be with us this evening. Not sadly, one of them's in Asia having a good time. Veronica Santorum is here. She's one of the 3 artists. I imagine that she would be happy to chat about it if you ask her. There she is nodding in the middle of the room, so that's great. But you will get an opportunity to work with these artists in different forms and in different settings, and I hope that you'll take advantage of that. So finally, just to say also that as the project manager, I'm delighted to say that Gráinne Fury is the project lead. So you will hear much more from her. Broadly speaking, I just write reports and manage the money. But Gráinne is a powerful force in this project, and I think with the combined efforts of us all and the whole network and your friends and families, we can actually make positive change in this town. Thank you. I'm delighted to introduce to you, I think again that you know her, Cllr Mary Linehan Foley, to the stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Hayley and guys. It's my pleasure as always to be here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to be here this evening with you all this Christmas get-together and launch the Blue and Green Local Habitat Videos and Creative Ireland Arts Project. A huge amount of work has been undertaken by the network over the past 2 years since the all Blue and Green community started up, but has really achieved so much in the past year in particular. These have included over 15 engagement events, organising the first ever Climate Action Week in Youghal during October, presenting at the Irish Museum of Modern Art in Dublin Castle, also helping residents in the energy transition with individual consultations, and also of course the community garden which is open to the public with a membership of 67 locals who come and go. I suppose really I'd like to thank everyone, and I'd like to thank Maria, Hayley, Gráinne, everybody that's involved in this, because the amount of work, and you can see from the short film videos that we had there, and I will go in to look at the other ones as well. It is a very, I suppose, changing time in Youghal, not just in Youghal, but in the whole of East Cork Coast, especially over the last number of years. I always remember, I suppose, as a child, just putting out the sandbags and Moby Dicks because we knew high tides, we were going to have a flood, simple as. But I suppose mentioned there was one back in the day of when it went up the main street. I also can remember that, standing at the post office when it had a phone booth and water up to your knees, which now looking you go, that's unbelievable. And again, as mentioned, Middleton, Inch, Mugeely, they were all just decimated over the last number of weeks and are still getting their lives back together. It's not a pleasant thing to happen, and I'm so grateful and glad that there is funding available here for the studies, because Cork County Council are also carrying out with UCC a study. I actually mentioned it a number of weeks ago at a motion I had brought forward after the flooding, and they said 2026, which I said is like, there's no point telling anyone, homeowners or anyone in the area, 2026, we need something done as of now. And they are working on that, so maybe we can collaborate more on that over the next number of months, because I think working together is really where we should be. Keane Park is just fab and looking fab, and in fairness to Frankie Keane, love, dedication, sweat. He has put everything he has into Keane Park, and we are so grateful at my level at Cork County Council as well as yourselves on that. I won't babble on because I could keep going. I'd like to do that, and I don't want to do that because tonight is your night. It's your Christmas get together as well, and I want you to all enjoy. And as always, you know where I am if you need me for anything, and we'll get working on what we mentioned earlier, Hayley, with Keane Park and that, because there is mounds of funding becoming available through CCAD and through EirGrid. They just want to invest in the communities, and they gave out massive amounts in their first phase over the last number of weeks. We have meetings with EirGrid as councillors in the area every month, so they fill us in on what's happening and where it's going and where it should be going. Now, sometimes I think it should be going everywhere, but obviously, for obvious reasons, hopefully there'll be more coming in the next phase. But look, it's my pleasure to be here this evening. All is a pleasure, and thank you for inviting me to be here. I would love to help in any way that I can, and I've mentioned that before. So without further ado, I'm delighted to officially launch the Pathways Project. Thank you very much.
Back to me again, guys. Thanks, Mary, for that. I appreciate that. We have some good news actually on the EirGrid. They have come up with a few bob, and we've got 3 new projects that are going to start in 2024. So as tonight we're just sort of celebrating everything we have done over the past year, we will give you a lot more information about the new projects come January, February. Before I go, I'd like just to say thanks to the C&D for allowing us to use the venue, to the cafe for the food, and also we have some beanies, blue and green network beanies there for €10 if anyone's interested for them, for say stocking fillers, etc. But other than that, I just want to wish you all a happy Christmas, and we really look forward and appreciate your involvement in 2024. Thank you. Good night.